What is happening, people? Welcome back to my F1 channel. Welcome to Peter on Pole. My name is Peter. In pole position, I've got two very, very special guests. First of all, Generous Dave. What's going on, G?
Lewis Rascal Hamilton, are you done, bruv? Let's go, bruv. Let's go. You can't be stopped, cuz. Let's go.
And of course, I got a debutant as well. Big up to AMG Dens. He comments a lot.
Yeah.
Big up yourself, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Peter. Dave, it's always a pleasure to join you guys. Again, got the goat in the room with me as well, man. Got the goat up there.
There you are.
Had
There
to
you
for
are.
the culture. So yeah, it's a
Man.
pleasure to be on, man. Thank you.
Very, very, very quickly. I mean, bloody hell, what a weekend it was. I mean, the Brazilian Grand Prix never fails for
It
entertainment.
really doesn't. It
Yeah.
really doesn't, man. It's crazy.
What were your thoughts, sort of, in terms of the Friday, the Saturday? You know, the deck was stacked against Lewis a lot of the time, right? And you thought,
Absolutely.
flipping, no, this title's going over. It's over to Max. You might as well give it to him.
Yeah,
And then-
absolutely.
Yeah, and then he pulls off what he did. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Well, just a range of different emotions there, man. Because I mean, prehistorically, Mercedes have had a stronghold over Brazil, and in the last couple of years, we've seen this trend where Red Bull have seemed to manage to get some pace. You know, we had the Ocon incident a couple of years ago where Mad Max again just couldn't compose himself, and then you know, some other performances where the Red Bull has been up there. So I was definitely expecting it to be quite close between them. And then obviously what spiced it up even more this year is we had the sprint race kind of quali set up.
Mm.
So obviously come home on a Friday, been looking at the first practice session. People are going on about the Mercedes straight and how Hamilton's going to take a 5-grid penalty. So I was like, wow, you know, his work's already cut out for him. Then
Yeah.
obviously we had the sprint race qualifying, which is kind of weird as well, the format. But again, Lewis was miles ahead of everybody. Like I think it was 4 attempts in Q3. So
Yeah.
there was that. And then just I just remember just going on Twitter later that evening. It's a really bad extreme sport to do as well, by the way. Don't go on
Yeah.
Twitter in the evening. I just hear FIA are launching an investigation and they impounded Lewis Hamilton's wing. I was like, impounded his wing? Is it a Boeing 747 about impound a wing? What's going on? And
Mate,
it was,
honestly, the FIA and its investigations, like post event, is so jarring, man. Because just
trust
when
me.
you think you know what to talk about, all of a sudden it's like, well, pump the brakes. We ain't done yet. You know, there's a lot
Exactly.
more. There's a lot more to come. David, let me go to you very quickly in terms of the
Mhm.
weekend as a whole, from how you felt Friday to how you felt Sunday. Like, what was your emotions like?
So obviously, like Friday to Sunday, I've not watched anything yet. So I was at work, innit? I'm reading the
Oof.
news, so I'm already living in it, yeah. So
Oh,
I've watched the sprint race and the race today, fam, and I was gassed, bro, because Lewis here just done bits, yeah, and Mercedes have played a blind, I think, yeah, because changing that engine, yeah, woo, Red Bull are
right here, yeah.
right at the right time, cuz Red Bull are in trouble, yeah. But obviously we'll get onto that later. Lewis was sensational, man. Sprint race was just to come back as he did, get to fifth. That movie pulled on Norris, yeah.
Ooh.
Sauce.
And that hurt me, man. As a McLaren guy, that friggin' burnt me, boy. But it was the inevitable. It was the inevitable.
Hey, McLaren had a
Bro,
how.
listen, don't get me started on McLaren.
Hey,
Hey,
I've
listen,
got a rant coming either
Hey,
Thursday or Friday night.
Pete, where was Norris going, bruv?
No. Listen, I've got a massive rant about McLaren.
Where
Come
was
Thursday or
he-
Friday. Flip me, man. Where was he going?
Where was he going at the start, bruv? Like, I don't understand what he was doing. Ricardo,
Bro.
there's nothing to be said about him. He was just nowhere to be seen. But obviously, Bottas as well. He done his thing. Even though
Yeah,
I don't know what
Bottas,
he was.
it's a weird one, isn't it, with him? Because he kind of looked quick, and then he kind of was like in no man's land for a lot of the race. He felt like he could have got a 1-2.
See, him
On
and
that
Perez
pace
are the
merchant.
same thing, cuz. Him and Perez, yeah.
Yeah,
Is it?
When it's time to deliver,
no
can't find
delivery. Missing like the mailman.
yeah.
Man,
Bro,
I'm
you
moving
on
like
pole,
Hermes, boy.
Trust me.
Yeah,
It's
no,
crazy.
fair enough. Let me just quick shout out to EC_TV. Go check out his gaming channel. Big up yourself, my G. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Boy, let's get to the topic at hand. Okay, we've discussed the Grand Prix and whatever else very briefly. But question, especially with the onboard footage that had come out today of Max Verstappen's car, which first of all, why is it taking so long for us to see this
How
footage?
loud? FIA, yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
they're moving shaky.
Listen, Silverstone, when Lewis went into thing at Corpse Corner, is it Corpse?
Ups,
Yeah,
yeah.
cops, yeah.
We saw everything. ASAP, quick thing. We saw every angle, nothing long, bro. Monza, when Verstappen did a madness and his tire ended up on top of thing, we saw everything, all that footage. Why this one? Man, no one had the footage, bro. What is this?
I'm telling you, Dave, they got Michael Massey's nudes. That's what it is. They
Nah,
got
Matty did not want none of it, boy. He did not want to put up with it, especially
telling you.
the talk. If you ever got the chance to hear the team radio between like Massey and Red Bull, Massey and Mercedes, it was back and forth, man. It was going
Yeah.
off.
But Red
So
Bull have the FIA on strings, you know, Pete. They
Nah,
they talk to Michael Massey like if they're telling man to just go to the shops and just get them
they're
a
not
drink or
Ferrari.
something.
Hey, these man not Ferrari like that, bruv. Nah.
It's true. They
be
shouldn't have
pulling
the juice
strings.
like that. They shouldn't have the
man.
juice like that. I agree.
These men are moving like they were Ferrari, you know. Now, for real, it took a long time because I just genuinely thought they don't have the footage. It is what it is. We're gonna have to just move on. When it
That's a lie,
surfaced
bruv.
today, I sat there in disbelief. I
It's a
thought,
lie,
holy
bruv.
smokes, are we sure?
Even Anthony Davidson, is it Davidson? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man
Yeah.
said I was watching the onboard, yeah, and then they switched it just before they went to the corner.
Oh dear. The
Uh,
FIA had a definite shocker. We cannot ignore that. But guys, because this is every Lewis Hamilton fan, every Formula One fan you can think of on the planet has come out and sort of been like, this is unbelievable. Now we've got footage. What on earth are you going to do about this whole situation? Can I start off by saying, guys, I'm not entirely sure that the situation should have been overturned, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
For what it was worth, I understand that it seems like Verstappen obviously doesn't turn in enough in turn 4. He kind of is sort of that classic letting off, he sort of lets the steering wheel kind of do the driving, if you will, and kind of ushers Hamilton out. Obviously, it takes him way out as well. But also, when you see him trying to really, really turn over, you see that the car doesn't necessarily follow suit. So I don't know whether the understeer was always going to happen or whatever else. I do believe there was a slight sort of mind game in there. I definitely believe there was a trickery in there, like every driver would. But for it to go back under investigation, I don't see the purpose, in my opinion.
I would say the same thing as well, Pete. It's one of those ones where I don't think the FIA will overturn the decision now. You see, they've kind of crossed themselves in this position now where they committed to not giving any further action at the time. And I think they're worried about their reputation because if they obviously overturn it now, it will just make them look stupid. But for me, clear cut pen. Because what Verstappen was trying to do there is drive on the inside just to take the main kind of line, I guess. And then as soon as Hamilton was in front of him on the right hand side, he deliberately outbroke himself, knowing that it would push him wide and then Lewis wide as well on the right hand side too. And then not only did he push Lewis off the circuit, he then rejoined the circuit and still gained an advantage as well.
Do you not think that's sort of racing tactics?
It is racing
at what
tactics.
Was he malicious? Was he trying to be,
try and make the corner?
The corner's not up for debate.
Yeah.
He was moving like Rosberg in Austria. He didn't turn left.
Listen, it was a cheeky, sly, whatever word you want to call it. Let me just push it back. He went too far, bro.
Yeah, I agree with Dave because you know what comparison I was going to make as well is we've seen situations where drivers have made clumsy mistakes and they've outbraked themselves or understeered. For example, Lewis on Alex Albon 2020, I want to say Austria, where I think it's the infamous turn 4 where it's like a downhill cambered section. And if you're the car on the inside and you brake late, the car tends to lock up and then you tend to tap the car on the left. Lewis understeered into Albon. Albon came off worse in that situation, and Lewis is the one that got the penalty for that one, which I think was the first time.
Not Brazil when he cost him a podium.
that was the year before, Dave. So there was another
Yeah,
one exactly
yeah.
like that
This
too.
was part
Okay.
2. Yeah.
So,
Austria
so
was
that
part
was
2.
that was the first part, and then the one I was referring to is part 2 in Austria
Okay.
a year later. So yeah, the
Do you
FIA
know what?
have been known to give punishments in
Now that
situations like that.
since you brought up the Austria situation, it's made me think as well now whether or not it's a case of if it had led to a collision, whether they would have then really gone heavily on Max for that. But the fact that it was just a case of they both went wide and we're both back on the track, it's a difficult one. It's very, very difficult because I know
Mm.
Lewis goes ahead at one point on the outside. He's definitely ahead. And like you said, you're saying that he probably Max outbreaks, just sort of outbreaks himself on purpose because he knows, damn it, if I break on time and if I turn on time, Lewis is gone.
True.
I'm not catching him.
But I think I have to also give Lewis credit because I think this is where the experience comes in because he knows this guy might try a tinker, so he's just gone. You can see what's gonna happen, and he's just gone. Let me just go out wide off the track and
Yeah, I
Live to
mean,
fight another day.
yeah,
And just
yeah,
quickly, Pete, I was going to say as well,
yeah.
shout out to Mike Fowler. He's one of my great friends from the Nev. He's actually a Max fan, so it's interesting to get a
yeah.
Max fan inside here as well.
Let's
What
see.
I
We've
was
got
going to
Mike.
say,
Let me just read out his comment.
sure.
Max should have gotten a 5-second during the race, but not now anymore. Interesting.
So he's actually agreed with your point as well, Pete, that it's a bit too late to apply it retrospectively. But the point
Mm.
Mike also said to me, like privately off chat, was that maybe the FIA didn't want to get involved because there's obviously a championship fight going on between two drivers, and there have been situations in the past. I think it was Sebastian Vettel on Lewis Hamilton, the time when he went wide at Canada and then cut the
Ah,
corner and rejoined dangerously,
yeah,
and then they gave Sebastian Vettel a penalty, and all the fans on Twitter went crazy because they blamed like basically the FIA for interfering with a race result. So I think people are looking for like a clean fight between the two, and Red Bull's argument, contrary to what I believe, is let the guys fire out on track. As long as there's not actual damage or people don't come together, then it
yeah.
is what it is.
But honestly, yeah, if that's further at the back of the grid, like see that Vettel one in Canada, yeah, I remember that whether that is a bliss and 10 seconds, bro, a move,
Yeah,
bro,
of course,
can't be doing that.
of course,
If
of
it's the same in
course.
the back of the grid with Mazepin and all them man there, hey, cuz, I don't care if you got a world title thing. Yo,
I'll ask this question: Do you guys understand why the FIA didn't do anything at the time?
no, bruv, because you
Whether
you
you
have
whether you
access you have
go
access
on.
to all the footage. Why could you not get your hand on that one? Listen, if they come to that decision and they show us the onboard thing, hey, I have no beef with the fact that all the other incidents you had every angle. This one, for some reason, no, we couldn't find it. Nah,
It was a
bruv.
bit shaky. I agree with Dave. Like and the way they just held on to the footage, like they were letting it marinate in sauce. I don't know
Mm.
what they were doing. Like,
Oh,
why it took them
they
so
had to
long?
marinate. They had to let that marinate for sure. They had to, they were letting that cook up. Big up to EC. Hilarious T radio to the FIA. Look at how quick Red Bull jumped on to get in there before the Mercs. Now, for sure, that man were hot off the press, like as if they knew that there was a sanction coming. Because I was surprised, like they were the first ones to make noise. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a very good point. I did think Mercedes would be hot on it just to say, yo, what the heck's going on here?
It's true, but it also shows you just a shift in the dynamics because we've heard like Toto Wolff come out now and say, listen, I'm coming off the diplomatic thing now. It's
Yo.
business because there's no point trying to play this fair and square game with Red Bull when they're looking to take every single advantage, every single centimeter, every single millimeter in a pun to the rear wing, which is like 0.2 of a millimeter off. They're willing to do everything to win. Did you guys know that for the Silverstone incident, they sent Alex Albon on a test? They used one of their allocated TV days to send Alex Albon round cups just to test the theory as to whether Lewis Hamilton would have made the apex of the corner or not. And that's
Cuz,
another point, Pete. I was going to ask you, what do you think of
Yeah.
this whole debate about the apex kind of like part? Because when Lewis got his penalty in Silverstone, the argument was, oh, well, he didn't make the apex of the corner, so that's why he also got the penalty as well as hitting Max. But in this situation, Max also didn't hit the apex of the corner, but
That's a very good point because Lewis was getting blamed for the fact that look, he's understeered, so he's caused the problem, hasn't he, with Max, right? So has Max caused the problem with Lewis? I think on this occasion it was defending. I don't think he necessarily like big up to Hugo. He's put here, you know, the title's on the line. There's big fish at the table right now, and he had to just defend for his life. I think on that case, it was more so defending for his life. Whereas with Lewis, it actually looks like Lewis is understeered at Silverstone, which causes the collision. So it's almost like, you know, one was a driver error, the other one was deliberate, but it was like, can I say safe? It's a very difficult word to say.
Dead though, yeah, bruv. Man had so much space, bruv. There's no need for a man to go all the way out there.
True.
You missed the corner entirely. You haven't even tried to. They make it look like I've tried to make. You've now gone off as nah, bruv.
When your car is slower and you know that you're about to get beat, I understand that going out wide.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the term was clean. I won't go as far as that. But what I will say is, even if the onboard footage was there, I could see why the FIA don't deem enough for it to be a penalty.
Then show it, bruv.
Yeah, why?
Show it and leave it at that, bruv.
Why they don't show it is fascinating. One last one before we move on to the next topic on this conversation. EC says, I'm going to say in isolation, it's worthy of a penalty. However, if you add that incident in the weaving together, that's 2 warnings. Then combined, it might be. Okay, so is he saying, help me understand this a little bit, because is he sort of saying that there was a sort of the weaving going in and out beforehand, and then and
there was a weaving, there was a previous one where he was just bare higgy hagger, bro.
It was like, was it the lap before, wasn't it? Yeah,
with the zigzag.
Yeah. There was some sus zigzagging going on for sure. There was some sus behavior.
He was trying to break the whatever. What is it called again? Is it drag?
Like the toe or the slipstream?
Yeah, the toe. Yeah.
Yeah. He was just.
And what is it? You're not allowed to move more than twice or more than once, right?
Yeah. So you're not allowed to move more than once, but you can move back onto the racing line if you're the car ahead. But Max deliberately moved from the left to the right to the left to the right again.
Yeah.
So that was, it just wasn't on, personally.
Do you know, it's one of those ones, man.
As I
sort
said,
of, yeah, go on.
If it's back of the grid and that's man Schumacher or Tsunoda doing that nonsense, hey, don't do that again, man. The same thing happens at the back, hey, bro. I don't care if you're world title thing, yo.
Yeah. I think one thing I'm learning since having this conversation is more so that I think Max Verstappen is kind of accepting defeat here. It's almost like you know
they're shook, bruv.
The thing is, though, here's the thing, though. When you get a new engine and everything else, it looks blistering at the beginning, right? It looks great, but then doesn't it sort of wear off? Like, I'm not kind of believing that this is going to be Hamilton's pace between now and Abu Dhabi.
Well, that's what they were saying as well, Pete, because they asked Christian Horner. They said, what's your kind of take on this Mercedes advantage thing with the engine? And he was saying, well, I'm not too concerned because with the Mercedes engine, we know that it's very strong, very powerful when it's brand new, but then after a couple of races, the top speed dies down as the engine components decay, and that's been the case, with the not only just the Mercedes powered teams, but also Williams and Aston Martin. All of those guys have been taking grip penalties. Whereas, if he's being accurate with this statistic, he's saying that the Honda engine now, the difference between a completely fresh Honda engine and like a worn one is only 1/10 of a difference. So reliability as well is going to play a huge role in this championship, especially with the 3 races to go.
That's interesting because I'd keep eyes on the Ferrari upgrade, because since their upgrade, all of a sudden it just seems a bit too consistent for my liking.
You think they're doing the Italian job again, Pete, with the illegal engine thing, yeah?
Listen, I didn't say.
Allegedly.
If Mercedes have got a new engine and it's performing like this, will it last the next 3 races? True. I don't know. Because I remember that interview Christian Horner saying, well, it'll wear off as time goes on, but there are only 3 races, and what I'm looking at with Ferrari, I've seen them be very consistent for at least 3 to 4 races now over the McLarens. So it's a bit interesting. Mike says that the zigzag thing is allowed unless it's on the braking line. He thinks so. There could be something. Formula One rules.
It's always a bit gray.
There is grey upon grey. Like there is
50 shades of grey. It's mad.
No.
It's mad.
I'm pretty sure you're only allowed to move once.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Someone
I
behind
I
thought
you,
so
thought
too.
it was. I
I'm
thought it
pretty sure
was.
it's just one time you can move, bro. You can't do it again.
Yeah, it's
Because Grosjean used to do those kind of ziggy zaggle weird moves as well and have people nearly flying into the air like with the last minute
Maldonado, what
jink.
is his name? Is it Maldonado, fam? He was another one.
Oh, yeah.
Maldonado.
Hey,
Come
we
on.
don't diss Lord Maldonado here, man. Come on. Respect for
Nah,
Lord Maldonado.
he was
There.
another
Come
Hago
on.
one, bro. You
Grand
win
Prix,
your
Grand
race,
Prix
and
winner. Grand
you
Prix
win
winner.
your race, but fam, that guy,
True.
nah, bro.
Yeah,
He
he's
was
suspect.
rash. He was
He's
just rash.
Suspect.
Yo, big up to Mo, man. Big up to Mahad. The science move on Verstappen in the sprint race is exactly the same. I don't have issues with the entry to that corner. The exit by Max was very poor, though. Needs to hold the penalty. Oh, do you know, I totally forgot about the science one on Verstappen in the sprint race. It was very similar. It
Which one?
was
Was this at
very,
the
very, very.
start?
This is, I think it's, yeah, I think it's at the beginning, if not lap 2, or it's early in the race. Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. I genuinely didn't even think of that. But the thing is, when you got man's got qualifying, man's got sprint, man's got the race, and then there was
So
practice
much.
two. There was practice two after the qualifying and before the sprint race. But I said, nah, you lot are bugging me out, man. What do you mean a practice session, but after qualifying and then before the sprint? I thought, nah, allow that. Don't do that to me. But yeah, okay. So Maha's saying, he needs to hold the penalty though because the exit was poor.
Yeah.
Listen, I understand you pushing the car out wide. Fam, at least attempt to make the corner, bruv.
Yeah. My guy's doing up London bus driver with the ting. Whole set of steering lock on the ting. Mad.
Because it was one thing to defend, it was another thing to go. Them man were by the Pirelli sign. Them man were
How Pirelli just catching free advertisement like.
That Pirelli boy. I'm saying that got some advertisement, boy.
Well, I'll tell you.
I should have never seen that, especially on turn 4. I should never see that far ahead on that corner. Do you know what I'm saying? So
from that angle, you could probably see Ruben Barrichello's nan's house or something. That's how wide they went there. It was ridiculous.
It's absolutely mad. It's absolutely mad. But yeah, even what's it? Hugo is agreeing there with Mo's point, but it's not Lewis versus Verstappen. So it's them ones where it's like, yeah, man don't even care about all that. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah. I see that you guys think, it should have been a penalty at the time. I was a bit like, I don't get what the beef is as such. When I watched it, I was like, oh, they've got a bit wide, but I didn't think like the up. You know what Twitter, man, Formula One Twitter. Listen, I thought football Twitter was one thing. I'm involved in a lot of Twitter spaces, if you will, but the F1 Twitter, I've seen them arise in 2021. I've seen you guys. I have seen all of you, men, women, child, the whole lot of you. But
it's a hotly contested space, boy. I'm telling you,
it's peak, man. It's peak.
Hotly contested.
And the thing is, I wonder if it's because if we didn't have a polarizing figure, he's not even polarizing as such. But if we didn't have a polarizing figure as Lewis Hamilton, whether it would even get this much source. Do you know them ones? Say he'd been Nico Rosberg or Schumacher or whoever, right? It would just be like, here we go. Let's enjoy every week. Yeah. Do you know them ones? Whereas, man, Hamilton comes out, bro. First of all, he's gangster. Let's keep it 100%. This guy is a 7-time world champion. People are calling it luck. I'm sitting there in disbelief. He then stands up for all manner of rights. It's just, I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously I know what it is, but as in like, it's just so, it's confusing to me. Like the amount of Sebastian Vettel stands. Listen, I grew up in a time where I could not stand that man at Red Bull. Okay, when he was in that Red Bull, I couldn't stand him. When he went to Ferrari, I thought, oh, whatever. Let's see some new winners, and that's what I like in Formula One. I like the mixture of competition. I'm not necessarily, pro Lewis and anti Max or vice versa. I'm pro McLaren first and foremost, and then everything else. Let's see what happens. But because my team ain't got nothing to talk about, so I got to keep it moving. Let's see what Mahad has to say. Man, I say you got to hit the apex on the corner. You don't need to.
I'm not saying you have to hit it.
No, but just to add to Mo's point, because Dave's gonna elaborate on probably what I'm gonna say. This is the same argument Verstappen fans are making at Silverstone when Lewis didn't make the corner. So how comes the same rule doesn't apply now when it's Lewis on Max?
There you go, bruv.
Yeah, it's a very look, honestly, until you brought it up to date, I never thought of it. Off the top of my head, I'm sort of thinking Lewis looks like he made the mistake first, whereas Verstappen looks like what he's doing was a bit deliberate. Was a bit,
Which
you know.
then should be even more penalizable than what Lewis got.
Hence what I'm saying. Calm, you defending. Obviously, there's a world title on the line. Fam, let's not try make it look a bit sly, bruv. You just for you
Forgot
to
to
push
turn.
my man out wide, and then you
Nah,
also
man.
go off as
Hey,
well.
man, them talk to me.
No,
Where are
nah,
these
bruv.
lads?
For
Where
you to
are
go
these
off wide,
lads?
I think
Where
they're
are
in
these
Qatar now,
man?
you know. I think they're in Abu Dhabi now. That's how wide them man went.
Bruv.
Nah, them man are wide, fam. Them man are wide.
Come on, bruv. Nah,
Listen,
nah.
I've got my phone out because Mercedes, ladies and gentlemen, have come out in retaliation as well since the footage has rolled out today. And I'll read it very quickly. It says the Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 team confirms that we have today requested a right of review under the Article 14.1.1 of the International Sporting Code in relation to the Turn 4 incident between car 44 and car 33 on lap 48 in the 2021 Brazilian Grand Prix on the basis of new evidence unavailable to the stewards at the time of their decision. Thoughts?
Standard, bruv. I don't know.
They
what
have
else
to. They have to.
They should
man.
fight, yeah?
They have to, because look at it, Pete, man. There's 3 races to go. What's the gap in the championship now? 14 points?
14.
They have to throw everything at the book, because look at it this way as well, Pete and Dave as well. Like, all these years, Mercedes have just been doing the thing. They never troubled anybody. They just been in their own lane. You know, Red Bull complained about the flipping engine modes that got banned. Mercedes come out with a very innovative new steering wheel system called DAS. Nah, they get that banned as well. Then they come into 2021 and there's these new regulations that remove the aero from the floor, and it affects the low rake cars like Mercedes and Aston Martin. They took that on the chin as well. Every single thing Mercedes do, it's almost as if they get pegged back a step for almost being like so far ahead of the curve, especially in this hybrid era. So it doesn't surprise me now that they've just said, you know what, do away with the diplomacy, do away with like doing things the gentleman way. Forget all of that now. It's swingers. It's a mad thing now. It's a mad thing.
David, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree, fam.
Yeah, wholeheartedly. It's interesting, man, because when Horn has been moaning all year round, right? Everyone looks at Horn as the bad guy. You know the ones. It's like, oh, look at him moaning. Look at the mind games. Look at this, that,
Karen
and the other.
Horner.
Yeah,
Karen. Top Karen.
Karen Horner on his birthday. You know, Mercedes are lawless, but
They have to be.
yeah. When Toto's obviously, we're seeing a gangster version of Toto now, right? Where it's like, screw this, man. This is what we're up against. But the title is like literally on the line.
And
I
Pete, just to
can't.
pause you there as well. Did you see Toto's face when he eventually did make the move on Verstappen?
What do you mean?
Man,
The meme that
man looked at the
circulated the
camera.
nation?
Yeah, the infamous meme of him looking into the camera and him pointing like,
Bruh.
yo, you're stopping a me. Are you me want, I gotta mash up your clutch.
Let me tell you, bro. Listen. There's a side of, but he was like that all weekend. Like on the Friday, on the Saturday, he was pissed, bro. He was just not. He was not happy. And even the Sky Sports are like, you don't look happy. And he's like, no. I mean, in fact, they can take my rear wing and freaking sell it for parts for like at this point, because he's just been livid. And I think you've made a very great point there, Dens. It's the fact that they've gone through the whole season of having to deal with this, then deal with that, then have to listen to my man whining and complaining, and yet they seem to bend for Red Bull. It looks like Red Bull are basically Ferrari in disguise this year. Let's just call it what it is, right? Yeah. But like at some point, even the Mercedes, even the elegance and the class of Mercedes, even for them, they're like, bun this, man. What, we're gonna lose the title like this? And I think, honestly, bro, if Lewis Hamilton wins the championship this year,
listen, that's what I'm telling
Historic.
you, man. Red Bull are moving scared blood.
Yeah, they're doing 10 toes on the road.
Let him win Qatar next week, yeah? Hey, watch. Verstappen's going to do a madness, bro. Watch.
It gets honestly,
like that. Because here's the thing. If Hamilton wins the next 3 and Verstappen finishes second next 3, Lewis still wins the title, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yo, so Max needs to win at least one.
He needs to
to
win
put
one,
this.
bruv.
He needs to win one. Is that? But it's not necessarily the title over, is it? Because it depends on what Max does in the following two races. I don't know, man.
If you're telling man, Saudi Arabia and Qatar, yeah, is going to be straight speed, bruv, as well, yeah.
Yeah.
With this
Which
engine
is
they got, bruv.
where's the gap? Where's the gap between two races? Is it Qatar to Saudi or Saudi to Abu Dhabi?
I think it's Abu Dhabi, you know.
I think it could potentially be to Saudi Arabia too, because you know that track, it's not finished yet. It's a street circuit, it's still actually building at the moment. Hold on, guys, are we still there?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah, I'm
man.
still here.
My Wi-Fi was acting higgy, bro.
Oh, yeah,
It
the
was losing-
Virgin Media connection, you know.
Hey,
That's the connection, you know. It's mad in
Bro,
the dunya.
I was moving like Perez what was it? It was in Bahrain, bro, when his power just cut out.
Oh,
Red Bull
man.
didn't pay the light bill.
No bills were paid then. But sorry, you were saying, repeat that for me, please.
Yeah, no, of course. I think the gap is between Qatar and Saudi Arabia, because you guys are gonna laugh at this. The Saudi Arabian track isn't done yet. They're still building it.
I saw the video. I saw the video. I was like, is this going to be ready, fam?
Yeah, they're still building it.
Building it in Saudi. Could you imagine, bro? Could you imagine
Yeah,
if
bro, it's back to back. One week.
The point I was gonna make was I think Christian Horner is gonna grab some people by the neck, wherever that, because I think like Sunday gone to coming to next Sunday, it's too short of a time. It's not enough. He ain't got time to go back to Milton Keynes and start strangling, man. He's going to body guys when there's a break, because he's gonna say, what the hell is going on? Why are Mercedes all of a sudden so good, like so quick? It's beyond a joke.
That's the thing. And Pete, these man, do you understand how tapped in the head and how like desperate these men have got? You know, it's peak when man like Verstappen's touching up a man's rear wing, you know. And we haven't even addressed that bit either.
Nah,
touching it up like gal, you know, in the club.
You brought that up now, yeah. Let me ask you this question then, guys. Why is it, man gets fined 50,000 for obviously, trying to adjust rear wings and that, trying to inspect rear wings. Hamilton has his seatbelt off. I get it. It's after the race. 5,000? Surely our priorities need to be straightened. What's going on here? What is going on here?
Listen,
FIA tax.
Bruv, they got no something enough this week, bruv. Bruv.
I mean, I don't know, man. Honestly, it's just a bit. It's a bit smelly. That's what I'll say. I was looking a bit sus on that one. Big up to Gambino. No one talking about Merc running a Monza rear wing.
Hey, if it's gotta be that, it's gotta be that, man. They got that in the Arsenal too.
Listen, bro, there are bare like Mercedes guys out there. I'm telling you, we're just covering sins, bro. Whatever it may be. Now, for real though. How could they turn up? How can Mercedes turn up to Brazil, with a Monza type wing? How?
What,
like how?
Is that in the regulation? You have to have a thing.
No. Do you remember that's why Hamilton had the penalty?
The wing was really skinny, Dave. That thing was looking mager.
Oh,
it's looking real mager.
The back. That's why Verstappen was touching it up. He said, "Hang on a minute, what's going on over here?" And even though he got Horner saying we're losing time on the straight, blaming Honda if they
moving
lose
like
the
Alonso, moving like Alonso in 2017 with the GP2 engine now.
See this guy, this guy breaks friendships, This guy burned Renault's bridges hard on a different scale. And now he wants to listen. I don't know. Will he blame Honda? I don't know.
I mean, there's no point now because they're going to pull out at the end of the year anyway.
Aren't they still with Honda next year?
Honda gonna give them technical support, but it's not gonna be like the actual like Honda being at the racetrack and the branding. All of that's gonna cease.
Yeah. They need to find a manufacturer ASA. They need to find.
What they'll probably do, Pete, is Honda will give them like the baseline of the engine, and then Red Bull are basically like getting their own powertrains division and taking all of Mercedes' old eggs to like try and kind of like develop that baseline Honda engine into the future.
Yeah.
So that's what they'll do.
It'll be interesting. I mean, with the new regs, like that's the last thing you need. That's the last kind of issues you need to be dealing with. when the season sort of starts off again. So the high rate cars are always more draggy on the straight.
Yeah, it's true. And
Yeah,
just to explain that theory as well, the rake is basically the difference between the ride height of the front of the car and the rear of the car. So with
Mm.
Mercedes, they run a kind of car that's almost straight,
yeah.
and it's not so good with the corners, but it's literally like Usain Bolt on steroids in the
So
streets.
explain to me why Aston Martin has been trashed then, even in Brazil or
Well,
even
with
Monza.
Well, with Aston Martin now, you see the issue with them is, and it was always going to be the case, they copied the 2019 Mercedes. Bear in mind when we were back in 2020, they
Yeah,
went and copied the 2019 Mercedes.
yeah.
An issue with that now is when you copy somebody's homework and the things are wrong, you don't see what's the wrong answer until it's too late. So the
Them
issue now
ones.
is they're still stuck with the 2019 Mercedes, where
That's a
obviously
good
Merck
point.
have obviously the power and the money and the investment to see what's wrong, look at the wind tunnel and look at the correlation, and obviously improve the car. So that's
A
why I
bloody
think
good
Aston
point.
Martin threw the toys out of the car earlier in the year when he had Lawrence Stroll moving like a Puff Daddy, just saying, listen, I would just fire up every man in this dream because the rules don't benefit my car. That's why they were pushing
No,
so hard against it.
they
Howler.
got yeah. Do you know what? That is the biggest howler of 2021. Aston Martin as a whole, because what we've got this year from them, from what we were expecting, absolute scenes, absolute scenes.
As I
Let's
told you
get
earlier, Pete, yeah, Sean
yes.
Connery is rolling around in his grave, bro.
You did
Fam.
mention that earlier in the season. You did mention
You
that.
know, it's absolute joke thing, cuz.
Gambino saying Honda realizing these clowns will have a dominant car and still fumble it. Honestly, if
Oh man.
had you said to me, 3-4 months ago, by the way, Mercedes are going to pull something out the bag and look very quick, not just like, oh yeah, they're competing with Red Bull, bro. Like Hamilton pissed on Red Bull on the weekend,
Slap
so
them.
it's not even, it's chalk and cheese. It's not close. It's not close. So it's a bizarre one, man, because it was like I nearly put out a video, I think a couple of weeks ago, where I was gonna say Verstappen has to win this title now. After I don't know where he won it. I can't remember what race he won. Where I was like, oh hell no, this is over now. This is done. You better close this title. And then all of a sudden Mercedes said, no, we need to come out with something new, boy. We need to come out with something new. But as Hugo says, the new Mercedes unit is a rocket for sure. It is a rocket. How long will that rocket last is my question. That's the only thing I'm still
Here's the thing.
skeptical.
They'll get level on points, bruv, and then I think it's gonna be an Abu Dhabi showdown, fam.
Yeah.
Lewis
well
could
could
probably
be.
win the next two. Lewis could probably win the next two, and Max finishes second in both, and probably Max takes it in Abu Dhabi, which will give him the title.
The second drivers are going to be so important in this championship as well, man.
Bro,
Like,
the second driver, forget them. You might as well hire Charles Leclerc, hire Charles Leclerc and Norris for the last three races.
I hear that, Pete. But
Perez and Bottas are doing niche for
True.
your title defenses this year.
they're doing niche to an extent, Pete, but it's still mad because bear in mind the teams are so desperate to win this championship. They're sacrificing them to do the fastest lap on the last lap just to take away a championship point. It's getting really peak out here. It's a real life recession with these Formula One teams.
From lap 70, Perez diving in the pits. I'm sitting there like, what's going on, lads? Come on. Like,
No, keep it, bruv. Lewis Hamilton came from 10th, blood, to win this thing, guys.
Bro, I want to say he passed 24 cars over the weekend because he had the back of the grid at the sprint. He then took another 5-place grid penalty. Do you know the ones? Like he's lapping cars all weekend long.
He's fired up, Pete. And just before we move on to the next comment as well from Mo Mohammed as well, I was going to say that is why I rate Lewis's mentality so much, because he has this thing where he's so resilient. You know, when weekends don't come together, when things aren't going right, he's the sort of guy to just pick himself up and go again and keep pushing and find the limit just within the team, the car, everything. So, you always get the people that will say, he's an OP car merchant. He's always in the best car, but the best drivers get the best cars ultimately.
Yeah, it's true. It's definitely true. There is an aggression, or there is a mentality of Lewis that, I probably haven't seen this in his career, in his actual career. I haven't probably seen, Because I felt like there were points at McLaren where I was like, man, okay, the car was awful, and he was pulling hell for leather out of that car. But then, like, like with him and Nicole, and it was a bit like it was always messy,
Got a
and
bit
there was a lot
messy
of
outside.
distractions. And then it was like I remember when he lost the title to Rosberg, I thought like, man, Rosberg beat you mentally rather than on the track. Do you know what I'm saying?
True.
Because Rosberg is no match for Lewis, but to lose the title to him, I thought, man, what is going on, Lewis? But then I think the last couple of years, this guy's just said no, because we saw some outstanding
but you
racing
see
from
what,
him last year as well.
You see Rosberg, yeah. I don't respect that title, blood.
It's void. That title, I agree with Dave. That title should just be void.
No, the fact that you didn't have the mentality to come and defend it, bruv. Nah,
Guys moving like Anthony Joshua with Louise. He just said, "Yeah, you will be safe though." Me boss case.
Guys, it's
one title and dipped, bruv. Nah, bruv.
David, it's one thing to hunt Lewis Hamilton. It's another thing to be hunted by Lewis Hamilton, man.
True.
Have you? Oh, that's a different fight. It's not the same fight anymore. Like this is
I don't respect him, blood. Man, dipped, bruv.
Listen, bruv, I'm still
it one time. Try and defend it one time. Do it again and then dip. Man just said, "I am not beating this guy again. Bye bye. I'm gone."
Nah, I'm with you. It's like when Kimi. You remember when Kimi wanted it dipped? I thought, what? Where you going? And then like, yeah. Nah, I'm with you. Do you remember he left for like rally and then he came back?
Yeah, he had like a little hiatus.
Yeah, like he won that Ferrari. Was it 07? And then and even how he won the title that year was a farce. I can't believe he even won the title.
1 point, one point.
These times it could have been Hamilton, it could have been Alonso. Take your pick, McLaren. Yeah, but no, you screwed that up.
Bruv. Alonso was doing a madness that year.
Listen, bruv, 2-time world champion, back-to-back titles, and you want to give me this rookie to come and give me grief? Listen, patting him down, bruv, put him back to car number 2. He'll get his turn next time. I don't want to say they done Alonso dirty. They definitely didn't. But man, it was just fighting that did not need to happen. Hamilton was so good that just keep him second place and keep that Mercedes, the McLaren constructors title. Happy days. They lost the title and they lost the championship. It's just honestly, it's just don't get me started. Don't get me started. Sorry, what was Mahad saying? He was saying Red Bull hired loads of Merc engines, bare duffel bags. Listen,
it's true though. That's what they're doing, though, Pete. It's true. Like a lot of the Mercedes guys that moved on, they're going to Red Bull. So that is like behind Mo's comment. There is some truth behind that.
Which is strange. Why would you leave Mercedes to go to Red Bull?
It's just one of those things, man. I think people look. Maybe it's not so much a personal thing. It's just these engineers are always looking for a challenge. And when you've made the most dominant Formula One car in history, and you're just doing it over and over again with the same people, same team, sometimes a change in the environment can give you that uplift. So I don't hate it, but it is a bit.
You're giving too much grace. You're giving them too much credit for ambition. Because bun that, yeah. Unless the bag is fat, yeah. Unless the bag is fat, that is all I can imagine. It must be. Me leave Mercedes to join them, man, who ain't won a title since 2013. No,
to join the Ops as well. Join the Ops.
The bag has to be healthy. The bag has got to be healthy. Let me go through these comments here. Aston Martin don't have a low downforce setup because of budget. I see. Listen,
shoebox with wheels, fam. I'm telling you.
Shoebox. They changed Bottas unit 5 times. Nah, for real. No. Do you know what? That's a very good point.
I'm not arguing with that.
How can I not forget? Oh my days! I swear Bottas went through how many?
Yo, but to be fair though, like we just know with Bottas where it is, isn't it? Like the guy is just a one lap pace merchant. Great on a qualifying day. You see what's kind of weird? Bottas and Perez, they almost complement each other. Bottas is really strong on a Saturday and has really wicked 1 lap pace and can challenge Hamilton sometimes in quali. Perez can't. Perez has horrible quali pace, and then on race day, Perez is the one that can manage tires, Bottas can't. And then Perez is the one that is, a bit more aggressive with his defending. Whereas Bottas, you might as well just leave the door to the front door just completely like unlocked. There's no defense.
Nah, for real. Perez can massage a tire, blood. Flipping hell.
Telling you, tire whisperer.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely one that he looks after. But I cannot ignore. Listen, I get it. It's Bottas, in it. We know what it is. But Mercedes, I'd be a bit more discreet. How many engine? No, for real. How many times did they change that unit? How many times? Nah, they mugged him right off. Gambino says, if Merck's a rocket, why did Bottas not repass Verstappen and pull out a 5 minutes gap? Yeah, true. Too many men sleeping on Lewis and how good he is in that. Yeah, Lewis is phenomenal. Like you mentioned, Benz, best drivers in the best class.
Because I was going to say that as well, Pete. You know, and Dave, like it's so sensational how he sets up the overtake when he gets it done in the end. He does a little jink to the left, and Verstappen now, like a dummy, just defends clean air. So he's completely off line for the next sequence of corners and the straight. Lewis Hamilton gets the better line. He's just like moving his front wing so it's not catching the dirty air, and then slaps Verstappen on the straight before even the DRS zone. He's a genius.
It's phenomenal. We are sleeping on Lewis. The UK has let him down. I tweeted this the other day, and I just said, "Look, bro, like when he was holding the Brazil flag, I was so gassed. I was gassed because I was like, you know what, bro? There's a nation there that is taking this man in. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. It's not Lewis, you know. It's Louise.
That's Louise.
It's Louise. It's not Lewis, fam. That's Louise. I'm telling you.
Oh my god. No, so on a real, bro. And this is a nation that's had friggin' Ayrton Senna, yeah, and yet Hamilton would have a statue in Brazil. Like that's how deep it is.
Levels.
Them man were on him, bro. They were on. You see the purple flares of them thing when he won the race. I see a couple orange ones trying to get in, bro.
Nah.
They started messing around with the fragrance, boy. I was like, it's not enough, guys. It's not enough. I said, Rosberg full bus case. David, you have to respect.
True.
David, you have to respect. I said, yeah. Listen, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. If I beat Hamilton, I'm not taking my chances again. What, come back for more? Nah. Hamilton.
Man said, let me retire. Let me take my money. Let me go and buy a dog. Let me go and settle with my wife. Let me just change my name. Let me just completely change my life. I'm done. I don't want the smoke.
Have you seen him on YouTube, bro?
Oh, man, he's like a full-time YouTuber now. It's crazy.
My man, yeah. Whenever I saw something like, I think it was at the start of the season, he was sort of giving like, Bahrain analysis. I thought, all right, he's going to talk to us about the track. 2-2s now. He's in the game. He's playing the F1 2021, and he's there doing a lap around Bahrain. I said, this guy's mugging me off, bro. Fun this.
I told you, Pete, man. Rosberg's nothing but a sim racer. That guy is just a simulator driver. I'm teling you, he was never the source.
You lot are mugging it.
He was never the source, though.
Oh man, no, he never was. He never was. Big up to Nathaniel. What's going on, G? Listen, Max Verstappen is a dirty driver. I'm crazy late to the show. My bad. Nah, no worries. Man said Max is greatness. Man said lateness is greatness. You know what? Yeah, interesting on Max though. Did you see the interview on the weekend when he said, you know what? Even if I don't win the title, like it won't change anything to my life. I won't be bothered. Blah blah. Is what? Is he trying to just water it down? Is he trying to?
Cap.
Is he cap central? Does he know that the title's over? What? Like what?
It is cap though. I agree with Dave though, Pete, because they interviewed Max earlier in the week as well, and they said if he won the championship, what number would he take? And he said he would take number 1. He's fully thinking about having the number 1.
Which by the way, it's the thing that annoys me with Lewis. This idea of winning championships and not having number 1 on the car, guys. Put number 1 on the car. Okay, put number 1 on the car. That stuff frustrates me. I'm not gonna lie.
True, but it's the 44 legacy, man. 44 still we rise.
I mean, 44. I mean, it's not even like a 9 number. Like you know the ones.
It sticks with you because even when I'm in like different cities and I see a bus that says 44, the first thing I think of is Lewis.
Funny enough. No, fair enough. Is it what? Is it like country code? What? Like what's the deal? Like
044, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like what is it? Well,
it's a funny story though. He did say that I think the first go-kart he ever used or his dad bought for him had number 44 on it. So he's always had 44 from when he was like a junior karter, and then his dad made him get a yellow helmet as well, so he could see his son wherever he was on the track as well. So
yeah, that's fair enough. No, it's usually that, isn't it? Like everyone's go-kart was the number that they've got, and whatever else. But yeah, no, fair enough. But I'm glad that I was happy to hear that he would take number 1 had he won the title this year. So yeah, but Max, listen, man, he's always been a bit on the rough side. Have you seen the video that's going around of his dad taking out Juan Pablo Montoya? Absolutely
Boy.
wiped him when he was in the Arrows. I was dying laughing,
Proper
man.
kamikaze things, man. I'm
Oh,
telling you.
dying laughing.
There's something not right with that family, you know. All of them drink something funny in their water. It's probably the Red Bull, you know.
It must be that Red Bull, boy.
I'm telling you, it's probably red Kool-Aid inside there. I'm telling you, it's mad.
Mo's referring to our Bottas comment and the new units. In Monza, Bottas had a rocket and it died in one race. Now, reliability has been a. How many DNFs have there been this year? I think Lewis has probably had one, and then Max has had two. To be fair, these cars they've kept together this year, which I'm surprised at.
With Lewis, I think he had a DNF in Monza. You know what I think it is, Pete and Dave? I think what Mercedes are doing now that they introduced this engine mode thing, where you have to stick with one engine mode. Yeah. I don't think that Mercedes are running the engine raw, in the most optimum, mad aggressive power mode. I think what they're doing, at least with Lewis, is running the engine in a more conservative mode. So at least it gives it a bit more longevity. But the other teams now, obviously McLaren, Aston Martin, Williams, you see them having mechanical issues. So it's saying to me, or it suggests to me that maybe the teams are running the engine in different modes and sticking with that mode on the weekends. And some are running with more power, some are maybe running with more reliability for that engine mode.
I think you're spot on, man. They're definitely not pushing it raw, because we know when they do, you just look at their performances. The titles is amongst themselves, isn't it?
True.
So it's true. I think since that whole idea of the one engine sort of situate the one, it totally makes sense as to why then we're not getting the full pelt out of this Mercedes as we're used to normally. Just wanted to say very quickly,
that comment.
Gambino is hilarious, bro. No, for real. Honestly, is not lying. He's not lying. The way Perez looks after tires, man.
Yo, they could never done, His tires could never done.
There's something sick about it. He looks after them too well.
Perez is that guy, yeah. When he goes to a club, the part you don't done, he's just there until late. Just caressing the night, just like how he caresses the tires.
He will drink everyone to the table, boy. He will drink everyone under the table. I remember there was a video. There's some footage of there's bare tequila shots, and he's necking them through, and it's nothing to him though. It's like water. Because everyone's even asked him, "Are you drinking water or what?" And he's like, "Nah, man. This is food
raw
for
tequila,
man.
straight
raw." I say, yeah, this is food for him, boy. No word of a lie. Bottas it's Lewis. Of course, he extracts everything. Yeah, no, it's true. Mr. Bottas, it's Lewis. Mr. Bottas is not Lewis. Sorry, it's not Lewis. Lastly, from Nathaniel, before we move on to the next topic, of course, because there's some breaking news from the Alfa Romeo situation. Although Bottas has had loads of engines, McLaren Merc powered are suffering. Toto 100% said they are having issues with the engine. Are they having issues, or did Ferrari just step up their game?
I think it's
question.
A mixture of two, there, Pete,
I wonder.
Because in Austria, I don't know if you remember, because we had two races in Austria this year, weirdly enough. The McLaren was faster than the Mercs at Austria. And I think that was the race where Lando was ahead of Lewis.
Yeah.
And it was mad. It was like, how's the private? Well, McLaren's not a private team, but how's the customer team in the essence of they're the customer to Mercedes with the engine, being the actual factory team. So I think at times maybe McLaren have been running the engine maybe a bit more aggressively than Mercedes. But then on the flip side, like you mentioned as well, Ferrari is stepping it up, man, and they have to, because they've been buying themselves a lot of time saying, oh, well, we're building a car for the new regulations, everything's going to be patterned in the future, and everything has to be patterned, because you see them Italian man there.
Don't sleep. Don't sleep, bro. If
sacked left, right, center, bro.
Telling you,
thing is, if Ferrari get it together for next year, hey, mate, they could be back on top, man. They could be.
It's a Mario and Luigi thing. It's mad.
Oi.
But they might never do, though, bruv.
Do you know what? It's a weird one with Ferrari. They're always a weird segment. Like, you know, they ain't won a title since '07. Like '07, like what? Like what is going on here? You
You
know,
know that could never run during the Schumacher days. Like that.
not
That.
even close. Not even close. But then it's funny you say that because even like I don't know if you guys watched the Schumacher documentary, but like it kind of put into perspective. Like, Ferrari weren't winning even then. Like that, you know,
Yeah.
that they gone years, like decades, without winning titles, and then he thought, yeah, let me come and challenge myself and try and get Ferrari to win a title. I mean, you then realize, man, this guy suffered at Ferrari at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then
I'm
he
telling
got
you,
it together.
Ferrari are moving like Tottenham right now, fam. There's no trophy.
I said they're
Tell
moving like
them again,
Tottenham,
bro.
huh?
Tell
Fam.
them again, bro.
No, Ferrari
Oy.
are interesting, man. They're more like, to me, they're more like Man United or like maybe Arsenal, where they won back in the day, and it's just like, what's going on now? Like, what they've got. Thing is, they're more Man United. They got the tools at their disposal, and they're just not patterning it together.
Ollie at the wheel. Ollie
No,
at the wheel. Ollie at the wheel.
legit. Like, ain't it one of them ones where they spend the most every year, don't they?
Yeah,
Ferrari, they've got the biggest
because
budget every year.
Ferrari have this like legacy agreement because they're the only team since the inception of Formula One to be there and still be in Formula One now for 70 years. They
Yeah,
just get like a legacy bonus because obviously Ferrari is the most heritaged team in the entire sport. So they
yeah.
just get money for just turning up. That's how nuts it is.
That man are the FIA, bro, and then the FIA some
Mm.
something on a real. But yeah, it could be right. You could be right there, Nathaniel. You could be on there. You could be onto something there. Mo says McLaren suffered with Honda and Renault. Now we got a dodgy Merc engine. My head is killed. Big up to Mo, man. Oh, he's feeling the McLaren grief here, boy. Like, just when will it go right, man? You know them ones. But it's maybe look. At least they're with Mercedes right now. And by the way, thank God they blew out that Audi rumor, because I was not happy about that. I was furious about that. But
What's your thoughts on it? Because
nah, man, bun that Audi can coach, man. The thing is, like, if you want to come into the game, like, bring your own car. You know what? Don't come to McLaren and then try to use us. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm not on it. But I don't mind them. Like, I don't mind another team. Like, no problem, no biggie with that at all. But yeah, it's just, you know, because they're the kind of team that are going to be here, a Toyota thing or a BMW thing, and then cut. And then
True.
what? Then McLaren have to start all over again. Nah, I'm not on it. I'm not on it at all. I'm not on it at all. Gambino says, bare reliability issues. Regs hurt the rear of the car bad, but Red Bull still can't pull away in the championship. Mazda. Like, man, Red Bull are gonna get. Listen, if they don't win it this year, they're gonna get mugged off all winter. You know, like from like December to March, they're gonna be holding the smoke.
Pete, agendas must run, you know. If they don't win this championship, agendas are running.
Not gonna lie, yeah. Listen. I love Lewis Hamilton. I hope he breaks the record and everything else. But this year, I need Max to win this title. I need him to do it, because we can't. Like, this is like, I love the villain, yeah, and I love Christian Horner is the Jose Mourinho of Formula One, right?
He's like
love
Batman.
it. I freaking love it. So for me, I'm like, Horner needs to win the title this year, man. Just to stick it up one at least, because Hamilton will get his 8th title. I think, you know, eventually he will get it. I think personally, I think he can go up to 10. Like, I genuinely think that he's going to look for 10 and then sayonara, and that'll be it, boy. So let's see, man. But Red Bull, man, this thing was in your hands. When you think though, Baku, like, if you think about the Baku scenario where Verstappen's tire just blew out, right? You think to yourself, man, if only this tire would have been probably wrapped up now.
Yep.
So you can look at moments in the season where you just think, oh, this is where it was won. This is where it was lost.
He's going out Monza.
Monza was just bizarre. Monza was more about let me stop Lewis from winning than me even winning that race. Them tactical fouls there, boy. They had Schumi doing hot laps in the dark. Do you remember that? Hey, Ferrari are bad mind, man. This guy was putting in hours, bro. He put in 10,000 hours in that Ferrari, boy.
Work, man. You have to commend it.
Bro, I did. Like, when I looked at it, I thought, man, I thought, watching the documentary, I thought, nah, Schumacher is a nutcase. To leave Benetton and go there just because you want a new project, as you were saying earlier about these mechanics. I'm thinking, bro, I get it. It looks glorious, like you and the Ferrari, boom, boom, boom. But, bruv, allowed that. I don't know if I could have, especially when Hakkinen was just duppying you as well. Like with the years coming, it was it's a lot of it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. I feel like keeping that tight grip on a team like Shumi and Todd would be considered toxic these days. Do you think so? Do you think a team like that with Schumacher and Jean Todt would be a toxic team nowadays?
To an extent, because I remember when Vettel had his little Ferrari spell and he was trying to emulate what Michael did at the team. And they just weren't having it because they just said, "You're not Michael." As good as he was and is, like, you're not Michael. So we're not going to have that from you. I think, to be honest, Pete, it takes a person with a very particular personality to be able to galvanize a team like that, get everybody on the same page, like what I was mentioning with Lewis as well. Even when things are not going your way, you don't just throw your toys on the floor. You look at the mistake, the issue, and you try and build from it. There's only certain people that can do that, and that's what makes these guys so special. So, yeah, I agree with Gambino there as well. It probably wouldn't be good for the team. It probably wouldn't be good for the driver. Perhaps not even good for the sport too.
I mean, the fact that they dealt with Vettel with the way with Charles Leclerc coming in, but they just took Vettel for Pickney, and I was like, man, he's not even Italian. Like, what's the gimmick here? Like, what is going on? Like, is it just being that he's from the Ferrari Academy or what? But Leclerc is definitely a talented guy, and I think, as we all agree, Vettel in Germany when he binned it when he was in the lead. That was the end. 2019. That was the end. That was the end, man. Listen, before we wrap things up, Guan Yu Zhou or Zhu or however you guys are pronouncing it, Zhao, I've even heard. Signs for the Alfa Romeo in the 2022 season. What are your thoughts, David? I'll kick things off with you, bruh.
Where's this guy come from, bro?
he's from the younger series. He's a part of
FP3 or was it in GP2 and then man there?
That's a GP,
GP. It's a long time since we days from the days, days from the days.
Yeah, bro. He's
from the Formula 3 whatever.
They
rebranded it and now it's F3, F2.
F3, my bad.
Yeah.
But he come out at F2. He's part of the Renault or Alpine Academy. Yeah,
did he win though?
Did he win a title?
Nah, he's second place right now, and the championship's not done, I don't think. But he finished second overall.
He's got that Skrilla. He's got that Skrilla, boy. What's it? That's a Chinese driver in Formula One. That smells like money. That right there smells like money.
And what's the currency again?
Yang.
Wait, let me not say it before I get cancelled.
I think it's yen, unless I stand corrected, man. But
that's mad.
Alfa Romeo is an interesting team because you got them and him and Bottas. That's going to be a strange one. That's going to be a strange one for a whole new regulation thing. It's going to be a bit weird. I don't know how to feel. I mean, we're losing Giovinazzi, man. I mean, I don't think he's done that bad. He's not done great, but to lose his place,
it's a sticky one still. But with Giovinazzi, you got to say he's had his time. He's been put up against Kimi Räikkönen and not consistently whooped Kimi, I wouldn't say. When I'm looking at drivers of Giovinazzi's classroom, let's say, you got to look at people like Leclerc, you got to look at Sainz, you got to look at Verstappen, you got to look at Russell. And if you're the owner of a team and you could pick any of those drivers, are you picking Giovinazzi in that list?
You're probably not, but look what you're giving me instead. If I look at what's Gambino saying, he said he's P2 in his third year. By the way, his third year in he's getting slapped by a younger, less experienced teammate. Is this is the teammate? Is it Piastri? Is that his name?
Piastri, yeah. I think he's Australian or New Zealand.
That's the name everyone's been screaming about and saying, look, why aren't you bringing him in? So for what it's worth, what's the difference between Joe and Giovinazzi? You tell me what the difference is.
Them racks will get man moving mad. But you know what? To be fair though, Pete, I mean, I know that we like to run the pay driver agenda, but it's one of them ones we're just gonna have to wait and see, because you have pay drivers like Lance Stroll, which again, they're not remarkable. They're not the
Yeah.
next best thing since sliced bread, but they could do
Yeah.
a job. They're like
Mm.
West Ham. They're just doing a job, like, and just like getting the
Yeah.
results. Whereas you have other pay drivers, Mazepin, and it's just
I'm
long
still
for
waiting
man.
for him. I'm still waiting for that talent. I'm still. Why was the Don crying on the weekend?
Man
Bro?
got emotional,
I
He
was
started moving like Will
dying on
Smith.
Friday.
The guy started getting emotional.
Mad.
No, man, I sat there in disbelief. I looked at this guy like, for real? Am I seeing this? Is this actually happening? Is this happening right now? It's a mad thing. Gio can't beat Granddad Kimmy on a regular basis. Man needs to chop off his top knot in disgrace. But it's still Kimmy though. Like Kimmy is not all that, but come on, it's still Kimmy. You know them ones. Like it's still Kimi Räikkönen, bro. Like, at the end of the day.
I hear that, but Lewis Hamilton was beating Fernando Alonso in his prime
Sure.
at McLaren.
Charles
Leclerc came into Ferrari and said, Vettel, was this your end, yeah? Nah, fam, cut. So, like, I hear it, but he's had time. It's not like he's only been there a year. He's been there like 3 or 4 years now.
He's done a good stint. He's done a good stint for sure, and that's actually probably a fair point. Gio was a paid driver. I mean, the whole Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, you got the Italian. You know what I'm saying? It was meant to be. You know what I mean? There was destiny settings, but did not happen at all, man. I mean, Gio, to be fair, bro, man's behind Latifi in the championship. Nah, do you know what? I ain't gonna like us. I'm not gonna like us.
Fraud watch.
You need to dip, cuz.
Fraud watch. And you know what I was gonna say as well, Pete? You know when a driver loses his seat, yeah? It can be a bit peak because you're like, that's their livelihood. They train from the age of 4 for this moment. But with Gio, apparently he's gonna go back into the Ferrari stable. He's gonna be driving the Ferrari like hypercar in the Le Mans series and the World Endurance. So he can still make a living from what he does. Like, it's not the end of the road. Really, it's just the end of his life in Formula One. But
it's them ones, isn't it? Like, a man was playing in the Premier League. You've now put me in League One. You know them way there. That's what it is at the end of the day. So, the money's still there. Don't get it twisted. He'll still be paid off, and 3 years is more than most F1 drivers get. I agree.
And true.
He didn't deserve to stay. I won't go as far as saying that. I'm just like, okay, can you give me something better to replace with? I mean, it's bad enough. No disrespect. It's bad enough you got Bottas next year. That's what you've got next year, by the way. So, you know what I'm saying?
Flying Finn.
Flying and Finn, you can't even put them in that category with him. It's not allowed. From what we've had in the past, you know them ones.
True. Levels, Mika Hakkinen.
You know what I'm saying? Kimi Räikkönen at least won the title. Keke Rosberg. Wait, Rosberg was Finn.
Keke, so his dad, not Nico, his dad, Keke Rosberg was Finnish.
What? Do you know? I didn't even know that. I did not even know.
You know what? With Nico, and next kind of like fraudulent fact. Yeah. I don't think Nico was actually born in Germany.
Is he not?
His nationality is German, and I think they changed it when he's quite young. But Nico was not born in Germany.
That is madness in East Anglia. I need to check that, bruv.
Yeah,
man's got Eric, bruv. Eric is spelt like like a Swedish thing or like a Finnish thing. With a K, fam. I'm seeing K, fam. Now apparently he's born in West Germany, but I want to see, like, I bet there is some fraudulent activity. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. But that's interesting. Okay, I never even clocked it. Man. 4 weeks into his life, he moved to Monaco. What?
That's what. You see how privileged these lot are, and it's Hamilton they want to get on to,
bruv. Whose dad literally, like, from the grind, 4 jobs just to maintain your son's car. Man, come out of here.
Exactly. Monaco.
You know the boss there. It's the Harry Maguire of F1.
Calamitous.
Oh dear. Look, guys. Any other thoughts you wanna jump on with before we close up, man? It's been a great show as per usual. But yeah, man, we look ahead to friggin' to Qatar, which
this week.
Is it fast? Is it a fast-paced sort of track? Is there a lot of straights? I haven't clocked it too much from MotoGP, so my memory of it is very skewed. I'm just wondering, who do we think it favors? What car are we looking at? Is it Mercedes? Is it Red Bull?
I think it'll be a mixture of the two. I think with that one, it looks like it's going to be a mix of two because it's more of like a bike MotoGP circuit. It's going to have a lot of twisty and turny bends. So I don't think it's going to have a lot of straight lines, which is what the Mercedes will rely on at Saudi Arabia for the new
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
But then at the same time as well, it all depends on the track temperatures, how they do with the tires, the second drivers, because as irrelevant as they can be sometimes, you can't underestimate how they will use them as well in an undercut scenario, like what Red
Yeah.
Bull did with Perez at was it America
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Austin, where like they use Perez to stay out long to try and hold Mike Lewis up as well. There's so many
Yeah.
factors that can come into it as well.
It'll be interesting. I wonder if it's going to be like Portimao, because obviously that was more so a MotoGP sort of circuit as well, wasn't it?
True.
And you sort of, but it was very, very entertaining. It was very good. It was quite bendy and everything else. So I thought that was actually that could be it could be a very entertaining race. I hope it is. I genuinely do hope it is. Man said Fernando to Merck 2023.
Nah.
He
Less of
mentioned
that. Less of that, Gambino.
to be fair, he mentioned a comment earlier. I forgot to actually put it up. But he said the only person that came close to having a tight grip on Ferrari when we were talking about them was Fernando. And
You see,
yeah,
that's an interesting comment with Gambino. Like, I appreciate and respect that comment, yeah. But I don't know
Yeah.
if Fernando's a team player, because he does this thing where he has quite a isolating personality. We saw that play out quite a lot at McLaren when, the second McLaren run where he went there was the Honda engine project, and when things were not working out, he started to throw his toys out and slap Honda up. We saw quite a similar thing as well in the first run when he was at McLaren, and then there's a rift between him and Lewis. I think when he was at Ferrari, the thing I would give Fernando credit for is he was able to outdrive the car. And that's one thing I always give Fernando. Even in uncompetitive equipment, he always get a result out of it.
Was it 2010? It was the worst Ferrari car I think I've ever seen. And it's like...
It had the really ugly step nose as well, the octopus nose. I remember that.
And he pushed everything out of that car. The thing is, though, man, I think with Fernando, what you learn is he does not deal with incompetence. This is a guy when he's won his titles and everything else, and he comes back to see this. This is what Ferrari gives me. This is what McLaren gives me. This is what Renault for the second time gave me. And whether age comes with a bit more maturity and sort of humility and whatnot, he is back at the Alpine. He's not moaned once. True. And it's just a case of let's just weigh it out. And I think he's probably had his eye on the new reg anyway, where it was like, look, let me just weigh this out. And, maybe Alpine could come back and also be in the real hunt for titles in the coming years. But I wouldn't brush this comment aside. I wouldn't brush it out. 2023, I wouldn't necessarily brush that aside.
So that's when Lewis's contract expires, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, and who's to say how good Russell will be? I think Russell's got a year's probation next year.
True.
Because it's not guaranteed he's going to be there 2, 3, 4 years. I think he's got a year's probation on there. So that will be very tasty to see what happens there. I always felt like Lewis going to Ferrari is something that's still it's the itch that hasn't been scratched. Do you know the ones? But you would never go under these circumstances because that car it's not serious. But it's an itch for me that's not been scratched, which is very annoying. So I don't know. Maybe one day we might see it, but we need to go back to Mugello. Mugello was unbelievable, man. Mugello was nice, man. That was a nice one. I like that circuit. When Ferrari tried to come with that burgundy thing, with that maroon color.
Yeah, that livery was a bit of a sticky one still, but I have to respect it because I think they were celebrating the 1000th Grand Prix, and that in total is nuts. A team's been so long in a sport; they've done 1000 races, and we do 24 races a year.
Absolutely. No, you're spot on there, man. But Formula One, man, it's the title is still on. It's still going, and we're 3 races to go. We'll try and put out as much content as well. I'd love to have you guys back on for sure. It's been an absolute blast, lads. I appreciate it. But yeah, who's winning the race? Who's winning the race on Sunday, and who's the podium?
Lewis Hamilton.
What's your podium, David?
Lewis, Verstappen, Bottas.
What about you then?
All right, just to caveat what Dave said, yeah. Lewis Ross Clark Hamilton, yeah. Lewis Ross, you have to add that in. Lewis
All
Ross
right.
Clark Hamilton, first place.
Mm.
I'm gonna say Max second. And I just don't know, you know. It's a new circuit that no one's been to before with these Formula One cars.
Hmm.
I feel like some drama, some calamitous drama will either happen to Bottas or Perez.
Mm.
So I could see a young Lando or just a young
Hey.
Science, one of the two of them on there. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with give me Science on there.
Yeah, Carlos Sainz. Yeah,
Mm.
he's been getting a lot of love lately. Everyone's talking about how underrated he is, and I'm like, well, he is behind Leclerc in the championship, so it's a bit like, well, I'm not hearing enough noise about Leclerc, who I bloody love, by the way. I think
Mm.
he's going to be an absolute gangster when it comes to like his future career. No, Fernando was never not a team player. He was just never took any S.
True. You have
Fair
to
enough.
respect it.
No, like I said to you, I think for him, incompetence frustrates the hell out of him because you know, like at the Alpine, I think he kind of expects it, but at a Ferrari and a McLaren, what is this? He
Yeah,
called
he's not
their
having it.
engine GP2, bro. You know how bad that is. Like it wasn't. Oh yeah, we're not with the pace, bro. The McLaren in the Renault and the Honda era. Good grief, that was a horrible time.
Mm.
Thanks, lads. I was creasing all the way through top content. Gambino, thank you very much for your comments. Honestly, you've kept the stream going, man. I truly appreciate it. So thank you for jumping on. Big up yourself. But yeah, I think my top three for Qatar. I'm gonna go Max with the win.
Okay.
On Sunday, I'm gonna go Max with the win. Lewis will be second, and then in third place, I'm gonna go with because I think you're right. I don't think Perez or Bottas will behave and do what they're supposed to be doing. And you did you say science at the end? Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go for Lando, but I don't know, man. Ferrari on the upper foot these days. I'm gonna say Science to be safe.
I'm gonna go Charles Leclerc.
Mm.
I think as much as science is solid, you know, when he was when he was at my team, I frigging loved him, and I think he's still a great driver now. But Leclerc is a guy who's just slept on, man. Like after 2019, everyone was gassed. But like, don't forget, he's had a rubbish car last year, the last 2 years, and he's still doing incredibly decent. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Charles as a little one that's gonna probably because he might even beat Lando Norris, by the way, in the championship to fourth place. Sorry, fifth place. So he's still in the pecking order there. So
Yep.
let's see, man. But until then, yeah, I'm not sure when I'll be back on again, but I need to
Pete,
get
man, Pete and Dave, even just as like a fan of the channel,
yeah,
please keep it up, guys, man. Like I
yeah,
miss this show. I miss even as like a spectator. It's
yeah.
fun, man. Like, and I'm super
No, I
happy.
appreciate that,
The
man.
content's always 100, man. Big respect
Yeah,
to both of you guys.
I appreciate that, Dens. Yeah, that David. Yeah, we need to keep going, bro.
Oh, it's you, fam.
He was
Listen,
gonna
thanks. I
attack, man. He was
messaged
gonna
him
get
this morning, bruv. Say, hey, blood.
Mm.
Verstappen should have got a penalty, cuz. Man took long to reply. Then he replied, let's do a pod.
Let's do
Yeah.
it tonight. No, we'll get on as much as possible. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Gambino, we're gonna end with this comment. What's this? I said, bro, imagine you were dating Beyonce, then you downgraded to some Insta thought. That's what happened to Fernando. Race wins to no points. Championships to no points.
Hey, Gambino with these comparisons,
I love
wow,
it.
he's
I friggin'
legendary
love
with
it.
it.
Smooth.
He's legendary with it,
On
man.
that bombshell, people, we are going to sign out and we'll be back before you know it. Peace.
Take it easy, guys.
Out.